It is all an assumption that they are all guilty. The system looks like it is all against them. With so much of FRU presence, as though they are a terrorist organization. And we are asking this question: what is happening in this country? What is happening to this country? Are these because they are from a marginalized society or group of people who have been continuously marginalized? They are brought to court like already they are criminals convicted. So we need to know these answers from the police, the Attorney General, and from the Minister himself, the Home Affairs Minister. Why would somebody be... And the joke is the police are asking for a 14-day remand. 14-day remand, when in the first place the law doesn't allow for it. And what they need to take into consideration, and I think they are trying to punish the people. They're trying to punish the people because it's also Deepavali in another 3 days. And these people have been coming to the Prime Minister's department asking for his help all the while for the past so many months. They are not fugitives on the run. Why ask for so many days remand? Why not they be allowed on police bail? They can come back whenever they want for further investigations. So all these points to only one thing, that they are being persecuted. This group of people are being persecuted by the police and the authorities and of course the government.
Yeah. Let me add on the case of Lutz Mary. This case of Lutz Mary is very serious. One of her legs was swollen to twice its size. Okay? Because of a condition of diabetes and due to the fact that she didn't have enough medication. Despite that, the police did nothing. Until this morning, she falls down in a faint on the floor, completely passed out, and then goes into some sort of a state of shock. So what have the police been doing to allow a woman's leg to be swollen twice the size without giving her the necessary medical attention? And if you're talking about a diabetic, she could lose the leg, she could even die. Because she looked to all of us in court just now like she was going into some sort of state of shock. So I've never seen this happen in a courtroom. This kind of neglect I've never seen before. Why are these people being treated like this? Now, secondly, as lawyers, Ms. Manogaran and I, we are shocked by the police presence at a court of law. I think the authorities need to know this is a court of law. This is not the police court. This is not the government's court. This is not Syed Hamid Alba's court. This is the court of justice. Law rules here. The judges rule here. And just look at what they have turned it into. Even lawyers cannot get access to the courts of law in this country now without giving their IC and getting a pass. I can't remember when this has happened. That members of the bar, advocates and solicitors, we got to get a pass to get into our court. Are we being restricted access to the courts? This is a serious constitutional issue. So I'm totally shocked with what is happening, and certainly we will be asking the president of the bar, Dato Ambiga, to pursue this in a serious manner, the taking over of the courts by the police in this manner. Now, the other point that I want to say is that they are being investigated under the remand application under Section 48 of the Societies Act, which says that anyone who assists or works for or participates in a so-called unlawful society is guilty of an offence. This is absurd. Those people went there in order to give a memorandum to the Prime Minister. What has Section 48 of the Societies Act got to do with that? This is nothing but persecution. Okay? And now they are asking for a remand order, which is also not necessary because these are all people with permanent addresses. Why not release them on police bail? And you can always record their statement later, or at any point of time they can come to the police station. So, even asking for the remand order is an attempt to punish, especially with Deepavali on Monday around the corner. So we deplore this. We deplore this and we hope justice will be done today. The proceedings have been stood down because of the unfortunate incident and they will continue soon. Thank you. Yes, while being questioned by while saying something to the magistrate asked about conditions in the lockup, and at that point of time she fainted. And she seemed to go into some sort of a shock. And when you're talking about diabetes patient, that's very, very dangerous. And even then, the police officers were standing around, hardly moving, and we had to insist that the ambulance be brought quickly. The ambulance didn't come. Finally, we had to insist that the police take her down to the ambulance as soon as it comes.
When I went into court this morning and they asked me to give my IC, as an officer of the court, I have a statutory duty to go into court. I'm an officer of the court, besides being a member of parliament. After showing my member of parliament card, they still want that card. But I think what was more important is I get into court first. So I just gave it to them. But we will take this issue up with the Bar Council. This is a breach of a statutory duty. This is a palace of justice. I don't see justice here operating. And worse, media people who are independent are also barred. So this has become Guantanamo Bay already now. The palace of justice has become Guantanamo Bay. Media also cannot go in. You all are against the police? No. You all are against the government? No. You are just doing your job. And you represent the Rakyat. You are carrying this news to the Rakyat. And you are prevented. So we are in a police state. This country has become a police state. That's all I can say. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy in happening.
The police never gave us access to the clients last night. So we had to stand down the proceedings in order to take instructions first from the client. And now, midway, again due to the neglect by the police, a lady has fainted. She had to be taken by ambulance to the hospital. So all these things are causing the delay. And meanwhile, there was even an objection by the police to us speaking to our clients and taking instructions. And there were legal arguments on that point, which went on for, I think, a good half an hour before we were even allowed to speak to our clients in court.
Yeah, when we arrived at the entrance to the PM's department, we told them that my daughter is there to give a letter to the PM inviting him to our house for Deepavali, and the officer in charge said he will go in and get back to me. But within few seconds, we were surrounded by police, and they said they're taking us to the Balai, IPD Putrajaya. Thereafter, we were all taken there, and then only at about 8:30, I was called in to give statement, and it finished at about 9:30. And about 11 o'clock, they told me they are giving me police bail. Then after that, I reminded them that they are still holding my telephone. They returned my telephone at 12 and told me that I could go back. But after 12, I protested. I said I'm not leaving without my other relatives and friends who came with me. And as a matter of protest, I stayed back and I only left about 7:30 to court this morning.
Then she was with you the whole time?
She was with me throughout the whole time, and then there was one incident. One of the police officers, he shouted and screamed, and my daughter was so terrified. She hugged me and she cried. She said she's so frightened. I told her nothing, and she asked me, will they shout at her as well? I said, no, not to worry, they will not shout at her. She asked me, why are they shouting at one of our friends? I said, I do not know. And I just calmed her down and to say that not to worry about it, she will be all right. And we were there at the enquiry place where they make enquiries, and it was terribly cold. And I kept telling them to switch off the aircon, it's too cold. They didn't. And she was like trembling, and it was really, really cold. And I saw the other officers all were wearing jackets and with boots and socks. And we were both like throughout the whole night. I felt as if we were in the refrigerator the whole night. And
according to amnesty, you are being investigated for child abuse.
Yeah, I was just informed that they are going to investigate me for child. I was just informed about it.
Were any statements taken to that effect?
No, not yet. They have just called me today. They just informed me that they are going to take statement on child abuse.
And what's your reaction to that?
I do not know. I think they spoke to Suren, and Suren said not today because there's too many things happening. And he said he will inform them of another date. Child, I don't know, it seems so ridiculous. Child abuse, I think it's they who did that. If you look throughout, we went to PWTC in a peaceful manner. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what they have got to say.